Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee here on Above Life channel. Let's do a sound check. So, get your coffee, get your tea, get your water whenever you're watching this. Know that the energy and the information that is shared is exactly on time for you, as coordinated by your healing helpers, your spiritual team, aligned with your highest good, the energy of God, Creator, Source, Universe, and Cosmic Consciousness. Good morning. We are here on the Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 2024. I am using my Ho Ho Hope mug because I'm feeling a little hopeful today, and my purple Hope mug was in the dishwasher, so I grabbed the next best thing. This is a live stream, so good morning in the chat. Nice to see you. Hello there. All right. Hi, good morning. Okay, so today on our Sunday Morning Coffee podcast, the topic is an angel story. I promised last week when I did a Wednesday live stream on Above Life channel, and we do weekly videos here. Usually I do them on Mondays, but last week because I had medical appointments, I ended up doing it on a Wednesday. Got us through the middle of the week there. And I did promise that I was going to share a story about angels, and I did not do it on that live stream because we went almost an hour. Woo! That's going to be a good one for you to do your spring cleaning with and listen to that in the background. I think it was pretty inspiring. You know how I do this here, right? Like I share my work as an intuitive coach and as a psychic, and I also talk about human stuff, like normal human practical application of like living life as a psychic person. I mean, it's, you and I are empaths, so it's a thing, right? It's a thing. So it's not just straight up, here's your psychic information. Here's your psychic reading. Buy my shit. I mean, that's not what we do here, really. We're not into that. So I'm a little sassy this morning. Yes, I am. Yes, I am, which is kind of true most days, but I've had a cup of coffee already, a full-on hazelnut cup of coffee, and I'm on my second. But this one's decaffeinated. So in fairness, I'm trying to be mellow chill, but I'm also feeling good because it's very sunny and it's warm. It's going to be almost 70 today. Yes, my people. Yes. Vitamin D. And now, after my good reports from the doctor where I do not need additional surgery at this time, yay! I am taking more liberties of pushing my body a little more into the world again, exercising a bit more, walking a little longer, that kind of thing. Have to do light weights, can't do intense ones because I can't strain or anything like that. But now that I know I'm not dying anytime soon, hopefully, then, yes, I can live. I can live. So let's talk about the angel stuff. Okay. So last week I broke the scanner, the CT scanner at the hospital. So apologies to anybody who was going to Abbott Northwestern in Minneapolis last Monday, April, what was it, 29th, and you were expecting to get your CT scan. I know. I was very anxious about going back to that hospital, as I shared on the Wednesday video, because that was the hospital that my dad died at. He was in hospice care there at the end of his life, 21, 22 years ago, just about. And anybody that has lost anyone and who has worked it with the process of hospice or palliative care in the hospital, and anybody that's had ups and downs at end of life stages with your relatives, you understand what this is like. You feel me. And as an empath, you feel me. It feels like yesterday. It's like an energetic imprint, little wavy energy that looks like steam kind of coming out of that tea kettle. That when you walk into that space, it has this aura and essence and imprint of the last time you were there, and it's like yesterday. There's like this sense of, because we're picking up sensing energy, and it doesn't have to do with this exact time necessarily, but through memory, And there's like this little activation that happens and you feel that. And so it doesn't feel like 20 years ago. It feels like, a couple months ago maybe. It feels recent. That's the kind of the blessing and the curse of energy and timelines is that it is a long time ago and also yesterday. It really is like that with the veils and with with spirit energy. And I'm not talking spirit like spirits. I'm talking us, you and I, like our auras, our energies. Okay. I'm talking that. And so you understand what this is like because going back there to that place, I was more anxious about that than I was getting the IV in my arm to do the contrast dye to get the CT scan to find out what's the next step here. Like, what are we gonna do here? We gonna repair the rest of this aorta? Or are we just gonna leave her, dissected? What are we gonna do? I was more anxious about the remembering energies and the sadness and the grief that was going to come up again because grief is something that it goes in cycles and it surprises you, but it doesn't do that to derail you or because there's something wrong with you because you didn't deal with it. You didn't deal with that grief. You couldn't handle the grief, so you just stuffed it away. No, 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 no. That can be true for a while, but sooner or later it bites you in the ass. It comes up, it comes out, but it also comes up time and time again so that you can be attached and connected to the memory of the essence of the love, of the healing. And you can have this moment of how far you've come in life and how close spirit is, the energy of our essence and our spirit, and how deeply, deeply connected we really are to those people, to those times. And so in those times, it's really about the love, not the loss. It's about the connection, not the separation. So, how did I break the scanner? I didn't even go there, you guys. I didn't even get there. I didn't even have a chance to get there because I was so stressed out about it and not sleeping and for like 2 days before. And they called me the morning of at like 7 a.m. and said, "Hey, our scanner's broken. This never really happens. This really happens very rarely. It's not doesn't happen. This is the scanner at the hospital, people. At the hospital." And so dude was like, "Hey, can I send you someplace else? Or can we reschedule you?" I said, "Well, I got to go to see the vascular dude tomorrow at your place, and he needs to see the scans to kind of make an assessment based upon the last 3 scans I've had to see what's going on and how things change and all that, all that." And he says, "Okay, I got you." He's like, "Can you go to Lakeville?" I said, "Lakeville? That is closer than Minneapolis and not a pain in the ass to park. It doesn't even cost me to park there." So I'm like, "Yes, I can. Yes, yes, I can." I'm like, how come they didn't offer me Lakeville before? I was thinking I just said, "Yes, Lakeville." And so he said, "They'll call you at the time." And they did about a half hour later. And the thing is, you guys, that was the first day the Lakeville location was open. It was like an Alina Surgery Center, little contained mini hospital type thing with the Heart Institute was there. They had an office location there, and they just so happened to have a brand new scanner there that had not been used. It was the first day that that place was open. So we got there, and it was like quiet. It looked like a hotel, pristine, beautiful. And I'm like, wow, it's really quiet in here. We didn't know it was the first day they were open. We go in, we check in. They're like, "Oh, it's our first day." And I'm like, okay, really? I'm like, how weird is that? It's not weird, it's synchronistic. Psychic terms, you guys. Synchronicity. Okay. Another term that we use instead of weird to symbolize our spirit team is at work here. Yes, they are. They're at work here. So I go into the scanner thing. Had to get blood draw because they have to check kidney function because I'm doing a dye thing. I didn't know that because I've never had that before because usually I have other labs happening to check all these other things for my body at the time. Did that in one arm, other arm did the IV. I'm not a fan of IVs. We talked about that last week. And not that anybody is, right? But and I don't have a bruise. It looks pretty good actually. This side looks pretty good. My muscles are kind of floppy right now. But this side was a little bit of a bruise, but not too bad, not horrible, you guys. I thought it was gonna be really bad. It was not bad. And so I go in and zip, 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 zip. Done with the scanner, super fast, lickety split, easy, easy peasy. But I get into the scanner and there was a problem with the IV. Of course there was. Of course there was. Usually I have good juicy veins. Let me just tell you, these veins are like, woo, phlebotomists are like, ooh, look at you. Oh, I'm so sexy to a phlebotomist with these veins that just pop out, right? They're just like there and they're like, well, ready. But ever since the surgery, these veins have been through a lot. I've had a lot of different IVs in a lot of different places, and my ankles everywhere, on my chest, neck, everything, So you would think it'd be no big deal by now, but it's still a big deal. And with the scar tissue in there, sometimes it can be a little tricky to kind of bump around. And so they did. And it seemed great. She went in right away, no problem. I was like, sweet, sweet. This is no big deal. Girl, this is way better than the blood draw. This is good. This is good stuff. I'm like, okay. So I'm laying in the thing and you got to put your arms over your head, right? And she put the IV in and then they have this contrast dye thing and it was hooked up to the machine. And she's like, okay, I'm going to just flush it with a little bit of saline, which the other lady already did to make sure it worked. And all of a sudden I'm like, ah, and she said, does that hurt? And I said, yeah, it hurts. I'm like, what the heck was that? And she's like, oh, maybe it's not in your vein. So then she proceeds to start squeezing my arm. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm laying on my back in a very vulnerable position. But don't worry, I got all my clothes on. I didn't have to like change into a little gown or anything. I got to just, do the thing. Just had to take off the jewelry and whatever, no metal or whatever. And so I'm there and I'm like, oh God, oh God. Okay. So I'm starting to get nervous. The anxiousness is starting to happen here. It's bubbling, it's a bubbling, right? And I said, she's like, I think it's in. She said, let me just feel this. And then she's like, okay, let me try this again. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, let's just keep trying it and see if it hurts or not. Oh my God. And she said, well, you don't want me to try. I said, okay. And she said, I literally said it like that. And I'm going to try a little saline again, and just a little, she said. But she said, you don't want me to put the dye in. She said, because if that injects from this pump of machine thing that's here, she's like, if that injects, it's going to be very painful. I'm like, okay. She's like, because it'll go right into your tissue and your muscle. And I'm like, okay, not helping, lady, not helping. And so she tried it and she's like, she's like, is that okay? And I said, yeah. I said, actually, yeah, that's fine. And she said, I think it's in. I think it's the angle of your arm because it was up here like this. And she's like, I think it's the angle of your arm. And I said, yeah, it feels weird and uncomfortable. And she's like, you can put it at your side. I said, thank you. I said, I'll keep this other one up. I promise. So I'm laying like this in the machine. Okay, this is great. And I'm like, okay, so I'm anxious because I'm going, she leaves the room, they're in that little window place, and then I hear her sound of her voice saying, okay, we're going to begin. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I'm just going to take a test picture. So she, and it's fast, you guys. This new one is like, slide me in, slide me out, slide me in, because it's a heart one. It's specifically for the heart. And the other guy said, we can't just stop your heart from beating. So we got to move. We got to move, as quickly as we can to be able to capture the things and the pieces and components and stuff. And so I'm like, okay. And I'm like, so I'm like sweating at this point because I'm going, oh my God, the dye is going to come in. And if it's not in the right spot, it's going to be really painful. Cause she told me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. I'm like, okay. So I breathe, I exhale out. I let the energy drop to my feet. And I literally say, as my arms up, I'm like, Archangel Michael, I need you. And boom, Archangel Michael, right on my left-hand side. Archangel Michael is my ride or die, my tried and true, although I need another term besides ride or die because the die is not the option, although die, contrast die, maybe. and he was right there. And Michael has always been since day one, was the first spirit guide I ever met. I didn't know he was an angel. I have a story about that I could tell you. And and I do see angels. I know they're androgynous. I love androgyny. That's a vibe I definitely resonate with. However, very much traits of masculine, feminine for me early on, and so that's just how I know them. That's how I built my relationship with them. For you, archangels might not show as a person or a face, or they might instead rather show up as like a ball of light, an orb, a color, just a mist, that kind of thing. So, and they might be very androgynous. They might not be he or she, you know, or you might see Michael more feminine than masculine. So, and to each our own, because it's our perception and how best our spirit guides and supporters in the spirit world can communicate and connect with us. They try to do it as best as they can to translate for us. And so for me, as a guy early on in my journey here, yes. So right there, and I was like, okay, so now I know I'm protected, which means I'm safe. So no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. I know this instantly. And then I see a little bubble of Archangel Gabriel, a little kind of yellowy bubble. Usually, Gabriel can be really yellow gold, sometimes orange, depending upon who I'm talking to. I'm super visual. You guys know that, right? I'm clairvoyant, so I see. And color is a big deal for me. Color is like a language of energy, and that's how I interpret a lot of things, is by the colors. And so, little gold kind of bubble, like right up next to Archangel Michael standing here, like next to the machine, and then right up next to that, where the words are on the machine, the arc that I go into. There's a little bubble, and it's just kind of like this side profile of Archangel Gabriel. And Gabriel is like my fun angel. Gabriel, he loves, he's like so performative, such a like he would love the theater. He would be like my Danny Kaye and Singing in the Rain kind of vibe, right? Like he is like the dancer, the just so much. Oh, he's so much fun. But when I travel, he cannot come with me through security, airport security, because he is a troublemaker. He is so sparkly that his energy will set stuff off, and then I got to get scanned, and then I gotta look through all my shit, and they gotta pat me down, which I don't want to have happen. And so it's like a whole thing. So I'm like, dude, no, you cannot come. You show up at the gate, wait till we're going shopping or getting our cocktail before the flight, then join me. Okay. So Gabriel's fun, but Gabriel is also an archangel that helps with communication and connection, and has been with me whenever I do group work. Whenever I used to, this is going to be hard to believe, I'm sure not. Back in the day when I used my Fairy Grasshopper channel on YouTube back in 2012 and such, I was doing in-person expos and events, and I would do speaking, right? Like I would do group, what was considered gallery readings or readings with the groups of people, and also just talks like spirit talks and stuff. So I would do that at expos and events and things. So Gabriel came into me for that group work because I like speaking. I don't have a problem doing a talk about anything. I mean, I was in Toastmasters back in the day, and I did speech team. I mean, I did that. I don't mind that stuff. I mean, that's fine. But when it comes to this work and spirit stuff, connection and communication, it's a big fucking deal. And the ethics are so important, and trying to manage people's expectations is very challenging. And especially early on, you don't know what you don't know about that, how people can be super critical, and how it feels very personal, but it's not. They're just really sad because they miss their loved ones. And if you can't connect with their loved one, there's got to be a reason for that and the moment. And if they don't get a reading, they get mad. And sometimes people, they get disappointed. Of course, that's natural, but sometimes people get mean, and it's like, dude, you're not even paying for this. Why are you complaining about it? Kind of thing. But that was way early on in the journey. And so Gabriel helped me with that, helped me with groups and crowds and communication and connection, and helped connect everyone so everybody could have a good feeling vibes, and helped with the structure of work the way that I do 4 pillars when I work, and I set group space, and I do it privately too. And to kind of help manage the perimeters and the energy of things and kind of help just the natural flow of energy so that there's some kind of structure for me to work with and work on and go to if there's an issue or a challenge. I can go to one of the pillars, which is usually an archangel, sometimes a spirit guide, sometimes an element, but usually it's an archangel because in groups it's easier, I think, just to kind of blend the energy with archangel energy. That's just an easy go to. And other people, lots of people, because of, I think, religious upbringing or background or that kind of thing, have a connection to that. And they kind of associate the angels with some of that. So that it's kind of familiar a little bit without being churchy. It's kind of a balance. So Gabriel's little face. And then the third angel was Raphael, of course, because Raphael, archangel of healing, mostly for body. He's my doctor angel, very green energy, light minty green, not like deep, rich green for me, kind of like gum, like spearmint gum, like that kind of green. Yeah, and very light, and can also do mental health, physical wellness, spiritual wellness. I can check somebody's energy and what's up with them, like if they have an attachment or anything like that, or something's funky or stuck someplace. And it's like, this isn't helping you. And this isn't yours. This is your kids, man. Or this is your mom's, or this is your boss's crap. This isn't yours. You took it personally. So now you've been carrying it. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Like a thorn in my side, like that kind of vibe. And Raphael and Michael work really well together. If they flank you like side by side, they're like the best bodyguards for embodiment of energy and clearing. So when I do any kind of clearing work, whether it's a person, personal, or a spatial clearing, Michael and Raphael are who I call in. They are like tag team, back again, check. Okay. They're the ones that you can work with for those purposes. And you can call on any of them, by the way. I know they feel like rock stars. They feel like famous people. That's how they felt like to me, like celebrities. And at first I like didn't really know that I could talk to them unless I was dying. Like, I'm not a priority, you guys. Like, I'm not on my deathbed. Well, now I can't say that because I've been there. So yeah. So now I guess do I have a VIP tag? But anybody can. You can. So I had Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. And then instantly I'm like, I'm okay. I'm totally fine. And then she's like, okay, we're gonna start the die now. I'm like, okay, I'm okay. I just knew I was okay. I was totally fine. So I'm like, you guys. And I literally was like, help me, you guys. I need help now. So I mean, that's my little story. That's what happened. And so I totally 100% believe that these things happened to be able to synchronistically align the energy so that I would have an okay experience. So that the next day, on Tuesday, when I did walk in to Abbott Hospital, to the Heart Institute, it was completely different than I even remembered. It was like a totally different place. I didn't feel anything that was dark or sad or old hospital vibes or depressing vibes. In fact, the whole section of the hospital, when we were walking from the ramp across, because there was a big skyway thing, was destroyed. Like they're rebuilding it. They're adding everything on, doing a new thing. They have a whole heart hospital now. That's a big building that's attached to it now. It's connected. Nothing looked familiar. It didn't feel familiar. It didn't look familiar. In fact, when we were walking down the skyway, it was sunny. It was a little chilly, but it was sunny. Not like the day before. It was cold the day before and kind of rainy and yucky. And then that Tuesday, it was sunny, and you could look out, and it reminded me of being at the airport, at MSP, Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, the big skyways and stuff, and looking out, and I just seeing this whole construction site, but it was so like clean and neat, and there were like structures and pillars in place and all of the things, and I'm like, oh, the rebuild, just like me, the rebuild. And I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be. And then I met my doctor, the vascular specialist, who was freaking amazing, amazing, described everything, showed stuff, said, Here's what's up. Here's where this is at. Here's what I'm looking for. It turns out that my vascular guy has some kind of FDA thing where patents where he can create custom stents and pieces of equipment that can go inside my aorta down at the bottom in my into my belly that can just made for me and my body, like custom made. I'm like, sweet. He showed me a picture of this is what I would do and this is how it would happen and that kind of thing. And I'm like, all right, okay. I'm like, all right. And I said, so you're not gonna cut my chest open again? And he said, not likely. He said, not likely. He said, however, I would say that he's like, since you're not like 75, which I'm not. He's like, "You're young with this." He said, "So, the interventions in the future will be less invasive than your first experience." He said, "That was a life-saving event." I'm like, "Yeah, it was." And he said, "And they did their job. They saved your life." And I said, "Yeah." And so yeah, they'll just do it in other ways. They'll go through stuff and poke in and go in the side and whatever, but they won't saw me open again because that is like one of my biggest fears. So all of a sudden, all this energy that I've been carrying for so long just dropped. And I'm like, everything coordinated to help me have the experiences I needed to have in order to be able to heal, to heal. So so that's my angel story. Now, if you saw the post I did on the community tab on Above Life channel here on YouTube, or if you were looking at that this morning, if you saw me tell you when I was going to be able to show up, I I have these angel cards that I bought a couple months ago, and I was at a bookstore, and it was a used bookstore actually, and these were new. They were new in a pack, and I'm just looking around and kind of checking things out. There, it was so cool, like the journals and all that. And I happened to see these on the end cap, and I was drawn to them probably because they're blue. I love blue. You guys know that, right? I love the color blue, and they were simple, and they came in a box, and here's the name of them. Maybe do a screenshot of that. Super simple. This is like the little book that comes with it. So like it says, shows a picture of the card and gives you an example of what it means, but I don't usually like this is a good way to begin if you're going to start using any kind of tool like an oracle deck or cards. But I got them. They're different. And when I opened them up, I didn't love them because they're skinny. They're tall and skinny. And I was like, I don't like those. And they're really, really simple. They're really, really basic. Very simple. I like this, that they're simple and basic. And so now that I've actually been using them, I like them a lot. And they're really basic and easy to use. This one just came right out. So I have them. If you watch my TikTok, you'll know that upstairs in the kitchen, I have kind of like an island set up. And then I have a couple of different decks on there, and I have um, some little fidgets, and I also have some rocks and crystals and things like that, and like a candle and things like that. And so the kids will just like, if they're standing there and we're talking, they'll just grab a deck and they'll start using the deck. And so that's encouragement, right? I also have like pop-up cards and positive quote cards that they can take or whatever. So hi in the chat, I see you guys. And so I thought I would bring these to you and show you these because this morning, the picture that I took was an inspirational card. And that's, I'm like, oh, I got to talk about the angels today. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. So that's weird. That's synchronistic. When I showed you an example of a card, was it this one? Yeah, right. I just showed you this. Oh, that's so weird. I'm just having this abundance. It's very red, connected to, usually I would say red chakra, root chakra connection, but I'm feeling some stuff. I'm getting some info here. Let me just feel. I've been working on some new and some consistent techniques to manage my energy on a daily basis because I've been so ultra sensitive while my energy has been recalibrated and building the last 6 months. And I'm like a new person. Like after the NDE, the near death experience, it's just like it's so different. And like the way I work psychically, the way I'm getting info is uh, strange a little bit. I'm like, what? How do I handle this? This is different. And so I'm learning to work with the energies and to allow myself to be in a very spiritually fit place so that I can handle the intensity and the just the sheer volume of information I have access to now is just like, holy crap. It's like turning up, like literally going from like 3 to like 11. And I'm like, okay, like on the dial, right? And it only goes up to 10. It's like 11. So this red, what I'm seeing here on this one, it feels much more like circulation and flow. So when I tap into this, what this feels like to me isn't one particular angel, it's the chorus of all of them speaking. So whoever your spirit guides are, whoever is holding and supporting you, the energy here is about the flow of energy, the flow of information, the flow of things. You don't want things that are stagnant and stuck. And sometimes when it comes to abundance or money, that's what we think of, right? Come on, let's be honest. I think of money when I think of abundance. And when we think of that, it starts to feel like we have to hoard that or be frugal or be restrictive. And while having to do with money and budgets and economics, yeah, that's a smart thing to do, but there's got to be this balance. There's got to be a flow. You can't just not buy anything. You need to buy food, you need to buy gas, you can't just limit yourself or restrict yourself, but you can't just be free flowing either. You don't need to be flooding the streets, then nothing can function properly. So there's got to be this balance of energy. And so the abundance calls into your field of awareness this idea of balancing. It's like the ebb and flow of life is what I feel with this. And that's a basic core root grounded premise is the balance of things. And things aren't always going to be in balance. They're not. They're going to be flowing and then they're going to be a little back and then they're going to be flowing and they're going to be a little back. But as long as it's not stuck or restricted or kinked off, you know, like the blood, right? It's not pooling in a certain area. Like that's what an aneurysm is, people. It's a bulging yuckiness, waiting to cause some havoc. Because sooner or later, it's going to break. Like sooner or later, this little skirt is not going to be able to hold all these veggies and fruits and flowers. I mean, it's limited. It's limited. So we got to have flow. We got to be willing to give, to receive, to have that flow of energy, right? It's got to be a flow. It's got to be a flow. All right. So I'm going to say hello in the chat. So these are cool. This is just this is a tool. Cards are a tool. They're a DIY psychic for yourself. And now everybody and their mothers, sisters, brothers, cousins are using them, which is great. Use it. Do it. You don't have to pay somebody to do this. Don't pay somebody to do this for you. Do it yourself. Don't be lazy. Flow with energy. And don't limit yourself to only one reading a month or one connection a month. Do it every day for yourself. Do it through meditation. Do it through walking in nature. Do it through these like cards, angel cards, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right. Do it through journaling. Do you guys want another card deck? I bet you do. Hi, Lisa from Florida. Hello, Queen. Oh, Passion Pixie's here. Hi, honey. How you doing? Okay. You love the cards. Yes, you do. I know. Okay. Libra. Oh, Leo. Oh my gosh. I know who you are. Yes, I do. Hey, girl. Hey, nice to see you. Yay, spring. Yes, my dear. Margaret. Welcome. Good morning. Samantha. Nice to see you. Morning star sister. Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. Okay, so let's do another one of these. Let's do another one of these before we start our step into our day. This one just here. I got this one feels. And how do I know you might be asking, well, how do you figure out which to use and you're empathic, you guys, you feel. There's no wrong way to do this stuff. Your healing helpers and your spiritual team is talking to you all the time, 24/7. And legit, it is not complicated, you guys. Don't buy an expensive class. Don't get mentoring just to learn how to do this. I mean, just and go with somebody that knows what they're doing. Okay, if you're going to do that, please go to somebody that knows what they're doing, like Truth and Story, Kelly Fitzgerald on YouTube. She's amazing, super trustworthy, a great artist as well. Revelation. Okay, so you guys, remember what I said about color? Connected to the chakras or energy centers of the body, or an emotional connection for you. Since you're an empath, you might have feelings about color. This might remind you of blue. Like, it might remind you of the lake that you guys used to go to when you were growing up. You might have some good memories of the lake. You might be missing your family, thinking about family reunions. The blue energy might remind you of Archangel Michael. That's exactly what it reminds me of, this blue energy. However, it's kind of ironic that there's this like trumpet vibe going on, this doo-doo-doo, because the trumpet vibe is an Archangel Gabriel. So it's kind of a nod to two of the angels I talked about, Michael and Gabriel. But for you, if you look at the wings, it might remind you of a bird totem of yours. Let's see if I can get this in here. See the spots on there? It might remind you of one of your bird animal totems. And it could be any. It doesn't have to be literal. You guys, spiritual connection, information, messages, not literal. It's the interpretation. It's how the receiver. It's you. Okay, so what I'm sharing is just the place to start. It's just a place to start. It's not an exact science, psychic work. It is art. It is up for interpretation by you, the receiver. That's why we don't all have the same couches, the same artwork in our homes. We don't read the same books. We don't listen to the same music. That's why there's such a variety, okay? So trust you're sensing what you're picking up on for you here. This might have been the favorite color for your loved one in the afterlife, for one of your, I wanted to say grandma, but they stopped me from saying grandma. I think uncle is more like it right here. So when you put these together, revelation and abundance. So if you're a person that's really in your head and you think too much, think too much, actually, I'm going to giggle a little bit about the colors, red and blue. Red and blue. Red. Okay, I gotta dial myself back a little bit. 2024 is an election year. Anyway, sorry, I'm so sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Um, Woo! Okay, so if you think a lot and you're a thinker, you're a thinker, you might really want to zoom in on the words, okay? You might want to use the words and you might want to take these two words and you might want to break them down, okay? You might want to write about them. You might just want to free flow write about abundance. You might want to free flow write about revelation. You might want to Google and look up the meaning and definition of both of these words. You might want to pick one and focus on it and have that be something you journal about for today. Okay. You could also, if you're fancy and you want to learn numerology, you can look up numerology online and you can see that each of these letters has a number associated with it. And then it will show you online how to add up the numbers for each of the letters and then get a final number and then what that number means. You could do that as well. There's so many options here. Look at this for a very affordable. I think this card deck is like under $20 and it's basic. This is so basic. There are very complicated decks. This is not tarot. This is just an angel card thing. This is not tarot. Tarot has a very beautiful history, complicated lineages and systems, different ones for different people. You really have to kind of study it, get to know it, work with it a lot. So if you're just starting out, go something easy and simple. Okay. All right. And these are just so positive, so positive. There are so many great decks out there for you. Denise Lynn is also one of my favorites. I love her work. Denise Lynn, I actually have her Sacred Traveler deck. It's one of the ones I recommend to people. If you're working on, if you have like a mystic vibe, you like kind of mystical energy. Here, let me show you. Might want to screenshot it. Here you go. And this is what they look like. They're nice and thick. The texture of the cards is a big deal. They're wider. See how much wider they are? And here is the information. Like, here's what the cards look like that. They have so many things you can interpret. They have words that you can write with and journal about or meditate on as a mantra. They have colors. They have symbolism like the mountains, okay, working on something, maybe a hardship, maybe embarking on a journey. They have all sorts of, like this one right here is really my archangel or my, one of my spirit guides, Saint Joan of Arc. This is her vibe right here. But you see the sword, that could also be a nod to Archangel Michael about cutting the cords to the past. You see, so it's not always about what the brain focuses on for the words. It can also be in the interpretation of the artwork, the graphics. I have cards that are beautiful that don't even, they have words on them, but I don't even look at the word. I don't need the words because the message and the meaning for me that comes through is in the visual imagery. So if you're very visual or vision focused, then the artwork will speak to you more than the words do. But they always come with a little book. So if you're a person that really likes to learn in the traditional way and read and kind of get some kind of a structure to start out, these books have that kind of a thing. They show you how to do a card, like a reading. They give you an introduction. They talk about interpreting the cards, and they call them card spreads when you lay them out. And like how, like a 5 card spread kind of thing like that. And then they show you again the description, a picture of the card and a description of the meaning. Now these cards can get much more complicated. Again, this one is not a tarot deck. It's considered an oracle card, which is like a divination tool. Okay, so it's not a particular oracle deck. Oracle is again like a particular lineage, kind of a storyline, a complicated, historic, connected, but very accurate. I guess they can help with more accuracy as far as like details of like timelines and timing is my understanding. I don't do tarot decks at this point. I haven't had the need to do them, I guess. Everybody has their things, their favorite things, but like I have the Oghams, which is Celtic tree wisdom that I use, like staves, like sticks, basically. They look like little sticks. And I have that. And I love my angel cards. Those were the first deck I ever had, was an angel card deck, not this particular deck, but an angel card deck. And so, yeah, they have all sorts of decks for all sorts of things. All sorts of things. So just kind of feel what feels right. But if you order something off Amazon and you don't like it, don't worry. Just set it aside and try another one. Okay. One does not speak for all of them. Just try another one. It's probably a timing thing. It's probably, you don't need this one right now. There's something else that is more of a fit, but you might have got this one because you're going to tell your sister about it and she likes it or she needs it, or somebody's going to come into your house and they're going to see it sit on the coffee table and they're going to pick it up and they're going to love it, that kind of thing. So you don't really know for sure how that's all going to pan out for you. So you just pick with what feels good. You could go into a Barnes and Noble and go to the spirituality section, and there are tons of oracle decks, tons of different kinds. And there's some that just focus on elements. There's some that focus on power animals. If you like totem animals, that kind of vibe. Oh, there's so many beautiful decks for that. Shamanism decks. There's just so many things. It doesn't have to be a particular focused practice, like a Wiccan practice or a pagan practice or a Celtic practice or that kind of a thing. There can be just really general ones like this Sacred Traveler deck, Denise Lynn. All right. With that, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Ooh, it was so nice to see you all. I appreciate you here on Above Life channel for Sunday Morning Coffee. Tomorrow, we are going to have our weekly video, and I would like to talk about energy goals. I wrote it down. because we have so much more choice, so much more power than we realize that we have, and there's so much going on in the world with all this chaotic energy. Like, how are we going to manage that stuff? Now, it's possible something could bubble up before then that I want to talk to you about, or that shows up in the field, but I would like to talk about energy goals to kind of marry the energy of the energy around, to marry the vibration of the energy around us and our brain. That concept of goal, not intention. Notice I didn't say intention, I said goal. So, all right. So I hope you will join me for that conversation tomorrow. All right. I hope I've inspired your spirit today, filled you with some hope, and encouraged you to live your life. This is your life after all, and you get to live it. Just live it. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks for being here.